What's going on, man? Today is April the 7th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show. It's a Sunday, and it's a humongous slate. This is what the NBA does at the end of the season for people who don't remember last year. We had 2 jam-packed Sundays, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same exact way here again this for the last week of NBA. But with all that said, there are still some playoff implications on the line and some seeding implications on the line as well. So we're going to jump right into it for today. I did want to, let's see if this works. All right, cool. I got a little background music for today's show. Trying something different. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear it. Let me know how it sounds. And we're going to jump into it for today, man. I didn't give out any plays yesterday. I talked about liking the Cleveland Cavaliers plus the 5.5 plus the 6, whatever that number was yesterday. I didn't end up taking it. Glad I stayed away because they did not show up in LA. And we're going to talk about them here today as well. So appreciate everybody for joining. As always, hit the like button for me if you can on the way in. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. The link for all my plays when I make them are in the description. I've made 3 plays so far today, and I know for sure I'm gonna make 2 more. Just haven't locked them in yet. So let's jump into it for today, man. Like I said, hit the like button for me. Hit the like button for me on the way in, and shout out to David for joining as a member as well. Yeah, hopefully we can give out some winners here, David. What's up to my guy Justin, top of the morning. Riley tapping in from Australia again. Says got to stay up for the show at 10:30 at nighttime. So we're gonna jump right into it for my guy Riley. Appreciate you, Riley. Timothy as well says sitting at McDonald's on the second bagel. I need that cash, Chris. Let's go. I love this, man. Lettuce. What up, Rue Rizard? Eddie, Justin, Peasy. Who they? Yeah, Cavs did sell, Justin. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on with them. But let's go, man. Let's jump into it for today. There's a bunch of games on the board. We gotta go. I will be live as well at 10, I think 10:30 with my guy Cal Kerms on his channel as well. We'll be going over these games as well. So let's jump into it for today, man. First game up, we got the Rockets. They will be in Dallas today. They are getting real quick. Hold on. All right, cool. All right, so the Rockets getting 8 points on the road as a dog. Total in this one, 226. It opened at 226 last night. Haven't moved as much at all, as much as I thought it would move. So injury report for Houston. Let me just make sure I got this right. Give me a second. All right, so for Houston, Amin Thompson is supposed to return. He did not play in their last game. He is listed as game time decision for today. Ankle and finger. He's listed as probable. So I do think he's going to return. For the Dallas Mavericks, you got Luka Doncic still listed as questionable. And we know Luka didn't play in their last game against Golden State, and they still were able to get the win. This Dallas team is really, really difficult to fade right now. They're just hitting on all cylinders. And the interesting thing about Dallas is they still need to win. You also got Maxi Kleber listed as questionable, and Derek Lively will still be out. It didn't even affect him in the last game. You see PJ Washington step up, have a really, really big game. Houston, I don't know, man. It may be over. Well, it is over for Houston, but the effort may be done for Houston. This team is 12-25 from a large grand scheme of things. This team is 12-25 straight up on the road and just 17-20 against the spread. Dallas been all fire at home, 24-15 at home. They are just 20-19 against the spread at home, but they're 9-1 straight up, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. This was a game that I immediately thought about the under in. It's a if you know under. Dallas beat this team 125-107. It was last Sunday on March 7th that started this Houston Rockets 4-game losing streak. That total was at 232, but this total was lower, even though the first one went over. So that's a very strong trend towards the under. But I do think you got to wait on Luka and see if he's going to play in this game. Dallas still needs to win, and that's the most important piece, I think, here to the equation, is that if you check the standings, Dallas is in the 5th seed in the Western Conference. They are 2 games behind the Los Angeles Clippers. So if they win this game today and the Clippers lose, they'll be a game behind the Clippers. If the Clippers end up losing to the Cavs, they'll be a game behind the Clippers. So Dallas, and remember, 4-5 end up playing each other, and that's probably the matchup we're going to see, even though that's not even locked in yet. But Dallas, I'm pretty sure, wants home court over the Clippers. And the Clippers, especially with no Kawhi, they've been let's just say that they got a win that they shouldn't have got against the Denver Nuggets, and then they of course beat up on the Utah Jazz on the second leg of a back-to-back on Friday. So this game has major playoff implications, and I did jump in on this one. I couldn't decide whether I wanted Dallas team total over the 116.5 because Houston, during this 4-game losing streak where they've actually played against good teams, they are allowing a ton of points. Dallas just scored 125 against them, and they were at home in that spot. Golden State hit them for 133. Miami, not an offensive juggernaut team, scored 119, and then Minnesota also scored 113 as well. All 4 of those games went over. All 4 of their opponents went over their team total. But the way I decided to go in this one was Houston team total under. Just thinking that, Dallas doesn't necessarily need to score all the time. Dallas has been playing so much better defense. They're 15-7 to the under since the All-Star break. And in their recent games, it's been their defense. They've held 10 straight opponents, and 12 of their last 14 under their team total have the Dallas Mavericks. 10 straight opponents have gone under their team total. 10 straight opponents have gone under this 110.5 number. Meanwhile, the Rockets, they've gone under 110.5 in back-to-back road games. They scored only 101 points against the Utah Jazz, and the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. They went under. Mavs, like I said, they're still in contention to catch the Clippers. So I do think in the finish top 4 in the Western Conference, they have home court advantage in the first round. So I do think that Houston team total under 110.5 is the play in this game. Just thinking that Dallas is going to continue to play with the defensive effort and intensity that they've been bringing on both sides of the basketball. This number, I think, is still widely available. I'm going to double check for you guys, and we'll keep it pushing to the next game. 109.5 is the best number right now. So it has come down just a tad bit. A little bit of CLV, but 109.5 is available on ESPN Bet currently. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. Smoky Steam Best says keep fading the Rockets. Hopped on the Mavs -6.5 last night, even without knowing the status of Luka. Smoky Steam Best says he just gonna keep fading the Rockets. Like I said, they are 0-4. It's been a week, right? Remember last Sunday they played they played Dallas, and Dallas smoked them, and they haven't won a game since. They lost to Minnesota. It was a terrible week for Houston, and they essentially need to win out, and they need the Warriors to lose out in order for them to make the playoffs. So I think one win or one loss, one win for Golden State or one loss for the Rockets, and it's over. And Golden State's probably going to beat Utah today. We'll get into that game in a second. SK says, how the Cavs going to get up for it. Then Lakers going to 16-0 run. Yeah, I was watching the game like, man, that's crazy. What's up to my guy Tariq? He says, what are we doing here on a Sunday? I like the under 226.5. It lines up. It lines up really, really well, Tariq, with my under for the Rockets team total. I think Dallas can score as many points as they want, but if Luka gets ruled in, this line is going to go up. The 7 is going to go up to, the 8 probably going to go up to 8.5. Houston has beaten the Rockets one time, but it was a game without Luka. And then Dallas has won the two most recent meetings. I know Dallas has already beaten this team outside of the game that just happened last week. So let's get into the next one. So yeah, under on the Rockets team total in that spot. Under 110, under 109.5 I like as well. Next game up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. They will be taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. This game will be played early. All right, so you got to remember these early start time games, these matinee spots. That the first game that we just talked about is a 3:30 game between the Dallas Mavericks and the Houston Rockets. This game is also a 3:30 game. So you got the Cleveland Cavaliers who just played an early game yesterday, in another early spot today, and the Clippers. They always get these matinee spots early on Sundays. So this line opened at 4.5 last night, and money coming in on Cleveland. It's been bought down, even though Cleveland has looked like a shell of themselves recently. It was at 4.5 yesterday. It's down to 3.5. The total was at 220. It's down to 219.5. And this was another game that I played. So before I get into the play, looking at this Cleveland team, my personal opinion, they desperately need Karis LeVert back. I'm sorry, not Karis LeVert. They need Isaac Okoro back. Their defense has been really, really bad, and he's listed as questionable for this game. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. but they desperately need Isaac Okoro back. They can't guard anybody. Like, everybody is just getting whatever they want against this team. Meanwhile, their offense has struggled to score the basketball. So you get the Cavs, second leg of a back-to-back, of course. This is the 4th game in 6 nights. It's the last game of a 5-game road trip where last 10, they're just 3-7 straight up and 2-8 against the spread. They've covered 1 of their last 6 games as well. And they're just 5-8-1 against the spread when they're playing unrested this season, including 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 when they're playing unrested and on the road as well. Now, on the Clippers side, Kawhi Leonard, of course, still remains out. You get a Clippers team that has 1 day's rest. There's still a 3rd game in 4 nights for them. And it's the 3rd straight home game. They're 7-3 straight up, but only 4-6 against the spread in their last 10, even though they do have back-to-back wins against the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. The Clippers are just 3-6 straight up and against the spread since the All-Star break as a home favorite. So I can't lay points with the Clippers. I do think the Cavs going to get it right sooner or later. I'm not sure if it's going to be today or not. It's not a game that I wanted to bet as far as the side, because the Cavs will get it together eventually. The Clippers will also probably get it together eventually, but who needs to win a little bit more? I think it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think, the Clippers, I just talked about the spot for the Dallas Mavericks and how, Dallas could catch the Clippers, but the Dallas Mavericks need to win, and they need the Clippers to lose because, like I said, it's a 2-game separation there. For Cleveland, they actually had a chance. If they didn't go on this 3-7 spurt over the last 10 games and hadn't lost back-to-back games, they actually they only a game and a half behind the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference. Maybe they're losing because they don't want a matchup between the Philadelphia 76ers or the Miami Heat, both of those teams currently in the 7th and 8th spot. So maybe they want the Indiana Pacers. I'm not sure if you want that matchup either, but I don't know. For whatever reason, man, Cleveland's look like a shell of themselves. The play in the game, though, is the over. That's what I ended up playing here. Over 219.5. And I understand that Cleveland has not been, they have not been scoring the basketball. It's the reason why the games that they've been playing, it has been going under. And the Clippers are off 2 back-to-back good defensive performances. Remember, though, that was without Jamal Murray in the Denver game. And then they caught a Utah team that's just, man, Utah's essentially a G League team. So I don't believe in the defense. I don't believe in either one of these teams' defense right now. Both teams have been terrible defensively, bottom 5 in defensive efficiency, and the terrible defensive 3-point teams. And 3-point variance is something that typically pushes the total over. You look at the Clippers, 28th in opponent above the break 3 accuracy, and 27th in overall opponent 3-point accuracy, allowing teams to shoot 40% over the last 2 weeks. You look at this Clippers team, they stink defensively, especially defending the fast break. So I do look for the Clippers to be able to take advantage, get out in that department because they are 6th in points per possession in transition over the last 2 weeks. And the Clippers, 25th in opponent fast break frequency and 20th in opponent fast break possessions, points per possession via the fast break over the last 2 weeks. So a lot of matchup advantages there. Cleveland also been giving up a ton of points in transition, the 28th in points per possession over the last 2 weeks via the transition bucket. And then there's just a very, very strong trend. And shout out to my guy, RC. I think he might have pointed this one out to me sometime last year. But when you look at teams that are playing the second LA team, no matter which one they played first. So in this instance, you got the Cavs that played the Lakers yesterday. Now they're playing the Clippers today. When you look at that spot, when those teams are unrested and they're playing the second LA team, the games are 71.4% to the over since the start of the 2021 season. They're 28-1 to the over. And overall, like just going back as far as the database goes, 60, 31, and 5 to the over. I think that's above I forgot to write it down, but I think that's above 60%. I'm willing to take that play. You just need both of these teams to get to potentially 110. And I think that they can. I think major matchup advantages, especially via the 3-point ball. The Clippers should drain threes in this spot. The Cavs should also, if they can make them, Gorgeous Niang, Max Strus, Sam Merrill, Donovan Mitchell, Karis LeVert, Darius Garland, all of those guys should be able to make threes. I do see this being an up-tempo game as well. So I did play the over 219.5 here. This line is available everywhere as well. Let's see what you got. No play on the side. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Derek says Clippers team total, isolating them, says Clipper team total over 110.5. He says the Clippers top 10 offensive rating last 5, Cavs 29th defensive rating last 5. Will Rizza says Clippers, I think, woke up the other night versus the Nuggets. It was a desperation spot, Will Rizza. I can't talk you off that. Bond says Cavs gonna win to lock up the third seed. Yeah, they also need to win because I think Orlando's gonna win against Chicago today. We're gonna get into that game in a second. Tariq says I was gonna say the over. I like it. Okay. Justin says you might have talked me into the over. Yeah, hopefully. I think it's going over. I bet it already. I bet the over in this one at 219.5. It's just a lot of 3-point variance. It's a lot of fast break points. Yeah, I like the over. And the Cavs, while they have been struggling defensively, I don't think it gets any better on the second leg of a back-to-back in a game that's played less than 24 hours. And it's an early start time game too. Derek says Cavs gave up the fourth yesterday versus the Lakers. Hopefully they can keep it up, keep it competitive to get the O. All right, cool. So let's keep going. Next game up, we got the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. Very interesting game here. I saw it open as the Pacers laying a point. Right now, looks like the consensus is -1.5 for the Indiana Pacers. Major playoff implications in this game as well. You got the Indiana Pacers on the East Coast now. And this is an early start time game as well, right? Yeah, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's not too early because both of these teams are Eastern Conference teams. So you got the Indiana Pacers getting a point at the crib, laying a point and a half at the crib. And this total come down as we kind of expected, right? 228 is what it opened at. It's down to 225.5. I don't know how much I like the total in this game, and I'm going to get into the total in a second. But let's jump into the playoff implications. So Indiana is currently a half a game in front of the Miami Heat for the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. Remember, Miami already said that they desperately want to avoid the play-in in the Eastern Conference. Now, remember, the 6th seed avoids the play-in, while the 7th seed, which is where Miami currently sits, half a game behind the Indiana Pacers, will have to play in the play-in tournament. And right now, it's not a favorable matchup because it's the Philadelphia 76ers with Embiid, coming back and looking like Embiid. Philadelphia is trending in the right direction for sure, with winners of 4 straight games in a row. So this game, I think, will be played at maximum intensity. I just can't get there with the under, though. So let's jump into it. Miami, 1 day's rest. This is a 3rd game in 4 nights for them, and a 4th game in 6 nights for Miami. So you don't really love that spot as much. They are 23-6 straight up, 22-15-2 against the spread on the road. This is one of the most profitable road teams, whether you're backing them on the money line or you're just backing them against the spread on the road. Now, on the Pacers side, Tyrese Halliburton I'm guessing he's going to play, but he is listed as questionable right now. And the Indiana Pacers, coming off 1 day's rest, they've been pretty good at home, 24-15 straight up, 21-16-2 against the spread at home. So they've been equally as good. Both of these teams' ATS records are, as far as their respective spots, are about the same. Head-to-head, Miami leads the series, but Indiana did win the last one. They beat Miami 144-129 as a 4.5-point dog in Miami. As a 4.5-point dog. Yeah, they were in Miami. So the under is initially what I wrote down. Under 228.5 last night, what the number was. And I had all the notes in the world for it. And then the more I was handicapping the game, I couldn't get there. So Indiana, they love to take shots in the paint, right? That's their bread and butter. They don't shoot a ton of threes. Miami's defense has been excellent there. Indiana likes to run. Miami's defense has been excellent against the transition as well. The Heat also 11-1 to the under in road games when the total is 225 or higher. So that immediately, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing the under. That includes 11 straight unders as well. And those games are only averaging about 218 points. Now, granted, the Pacers offense is one of the best in the NBA. And this is when I started to not like it as much. So for Miami, Tyler Hero just came back. And he balled in the game that he just returned into. The only thing he didn't do was shoot the 3-point ball well. He didn't have any turnovers. He got to the rim. He was hitting his pull-up. Like, everything was really going for Tyler Hero against that Houston Rockets defense. So I don't like it as much being that Tyler Hero's back, because I do think that Tyler Hero's a cone on defense as well. I don't think that he can guard anybody, similar to Duncan Robinson. Both of the previous matchups also went to the over. And you got Miami with offense kind of clicking right now. They're actually 4-0 to the over in their last 4 games. And this total had already dropped 4 points. So I was a stay away for me, man. I don't know. I just feel like Tyler Hero coming back, Pacers playing, some really good basketball right now as well. It was enough to keep me off the under in this spot. Even though I know that it's going to be playoff implications. This one to me feels like it kind of sneak over the total here. I also strong lean towards Miami in this game. It's Miami and nothing for me. Understanding that the Pacers, probably understand the spot. But if I'm taking the Miami Heat on the road or the Pacers off a win, give me the Miami Heat, man. I'll take the Miami Heat. They feel like they're kind of rounded in the form, and both of these teams are 6-4 straight up in their last 10 games. But I think I'm just more inclined to take the team that I know is going to be able to get a stop when I need them to. So it's Miami. I didn't bet the game, but it's Miami or nothing for me in this spot. Understanding that the Pacers, like I said, they're going to get up for the game, but I think Miami will as well. Let's see what you guys are saying in this one. Tariq says he likes the Pacers. SK says looking at buying some points. Heat plus 10 and Sixers minus 3 is plus 100. Could take a couple points off the Heat. Yeah, I don't buy points in the NBA, SK, but I don't think the Heat lose by double digits, and I do think the Sixers should win that game as long as you get everybody ruled in, and it looks like they will play. But you got to wait on that injury report for the 76ers, in my opinion. Will Rizza says, all I got to say is look at the Heat injury report. That says it all. Heat about to show out. The injury report is empty. Will Rizza agreeing with me. Bond Pepper says revenge game for Miami here. Shinny says I took the Heat last night at a pick'em. I should have waited until this morning though. I'm probably gonna add the Heat. It's probably gonna be a smaller play for me, but like I said, I do like Miami in this spot, man. Miami, they're turning up at the right time of the season, and like I said, Pacers not a pushover at all, and it'll be a difficult game. But do you trust Miami on the road? I do. Personally, I do. I had Miami written down as a lean, but if I can get them plus the points, I'm probably gonna end up getting there. Writing them down now. But yeah, that's what my research found bought for me. Couldn't get there on the under, just because Tyler Hero's back. But I do like, I'll stay away from the total and probably look a little bit more towards the side if I'm playing this one. Swag, what's up, my guy? You see Swag in the comments in a minute. He says I was gonna go to the game, but had some come up. Chances that Holly play, I'm not sure, Snag. I go back to the beginning with the playoff implications on this game and how both teams probably wants to get out the play-in tournament. Miami and Spoelstra have already said it. I do think it's a game Miami brings it. I really, really do. I don't like it that it's a fourth game in 6 nights, but I do think that I think Miami can win this game. Damien says I like the under here. If Miles Turner doesn't play, he's vital to what they do on the offense. Plus, Miami want to slow down every game they play defensively, and I would agree. But I'll just say that the totals have been going towards the over between these two teams. Flying over the total. It was 144 to 129 in the last game. So real quick, talking about that injury report, I didn't see what you're seeing. Yeah, Miles Turner's not on the injury report at all here, Damien. It's just Halliburton. And Jalen Smith, I think, is on the injury report. Halliburton, so hold on. So Jalen Smith is ankle, listed as questionable. And Tyrese Halliburton I didn't see him get banged up in that last game. Who did they just beat? They beat the Thunder. Yeah, they beat the Thunder on Friday. He's listed as questionable for Sunday's game due to back soreness. Oh, I know. There's one more thing I wanted to mention. So Halliburton has played, I think at this point, Halliburton has played the minimum amount of games that you need in order to qualify for all of the NBA awards. I think that's important to mention. Now, granted, I don't think he's just going to sit out because, he's played that many games, but that is something that could come into play here. Yeah. Either way, I still don't think the Pacers want to be in the play-in, though. I don't think you want to be in the play-in in the Eastern Conference, especially with 76ers in Miami. I don't think so. Jamie says, I will be on this game as much as a Pacers fan. This game scares me. He said he was going to be at the game. Okay. Snag going with the Heat, likes the Heat culture. Will Rizzo says Heat not losing this game. They're going to throw the sink at Halliburton. I can see that. What up, Jay Smith? Appreciate you for tapping in. Danny says Heat about to get hot. Mark says, yep, Miami not interested in the play-in. They ball out today. So a lot of love for Miami in this spot. Keith, what's going on, my brother? He says, good morning, Chris. Going with Miles Turner blocks and Terry Rozier points and assists. Turner posting the best defensive rating last 5 games, and they've been successful versus the Heat since the bubble. Rozier kills Indy. Okay. Snag says he's been doing fasting for Ramadan. My guy. Appreciate you for tapping in, Snag. I was about to say snagging in, Snag. Snag also says, honestly, I think Halliburton has been playing hurt. Great look, Keith, with Terry. Yeah, it could be a big Terry Rozier game. Also, if you really love Miami, you wait and see what happens with Tyrese Halliburton. If he's ruled out, you jump on Miami instantly. If he's ruled in, you wait and you get a much better number with the Miami Heat, because this may go up even more. PZ also said he liked loving Miami money line today. Yeah, it's Miami and nothing for me in this spot. Like I said, not the easiest fade though, but that's the only way I'm playing it. Let's keep going. We got a lot more games to get to. And I didn't make official play in that one. Bulls and the Orlando Magic. So Chicago open 7-point dogs in this spot. This line is now 7.5. Total open 212, and it's down 2 points. Definitely, I think I agree with the under here. These are two offensively challenged teams, in my opinion. So for Chicago first, you got Caruso and Kobe White listed as questionable. I'm not sure if those guys are going to play. I'm not even sure what the injuries, like what the specifics of the injuries are, as far as, like how serious they are. For Kobe White, I will tell you guys, for Kobe White, it's an ankle, and he'll probably play. I'm guessing he'll probably play. I didn't play the side in this game, so really could care less. For Caruso, it is also an ankle. So both of these guys dealing with ankle injuries. Chicago, 1 day's rest. They're coming off the 8-point win as a 1.5-point dog, of course, against the New York Knickerbockers on Friday night. This team is 17-20 on the road, straight up, but 20-17 against the spread on the road. Orlando, 1 day's rest. They should be in a really, really big bounce back spot here after losing by 9 points to the Charlotte Hornets as a 12-point favorite on Friday night. They're 27-12 straight up, and 25-13 against the spread at home. So this team has been cleaning up at home, man. One of the more profitable teams at home. You also look at them, 17-6 against the spread as a home favorite. They're 7-2 straight up and against the spread as a home favorite, coming off a loss, and also a perfect 14-0 straight up and 12-2 against the spread if they're a home favorite facing a team that they've previously beaten already this season. So it's a lot of reasons to like Orlando in this game. Head-to-head, Orlando has crushed the Chicago Bulls. They've won all 3 meetings this season, and they covered all 3 spreads. However, I will say this: the last time that they played, that game did go to overtime. Orlando ended up covering, but it did go to overtime. As far as the total in this game, Orlando, and this is the reasons why I kind of like the under, but a Chicago defense can really struggle at times. Orlando is 5-0 to the under, coming off a loss as a favorite this season. So what that tells me is that when Orlando lose, they typically take the next game very, very serious. 5-0 to the under, coming off a loss as a favorite. They've held their last 3 opponents, the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Suns, under 102 in this spot, and all 5 opponents have actually stayed under their team total. So I wrote that down last night, and then, of course, I didn't look at too much more into it. But in Chicago team total is so low, I think that's one of the things that kind of scared me off in this spot. The Chicago Bulls team total is 101.5 on FanDuel. Do the Chicago Bulls score 102 points today? My thoughts is that they don't, but this is such a low total, man. It's such a low total. So I do lean Chicago team total under. I just kind of gave you guys the numbers for that. Orlando -7. I also think that could be a smaller play as well. I don't really like fading the Bulls, as road dogs, especially when they're getting such a big number. They have been, slightly profitable in this position, but Orlando should crush in this spot, man. So looking into the game from an X's and O's perspective, Orlando's weakness on defense is the 3-point shot. If you watched that game against Charlotte the other day, Brandon Miller lit them boys up. I mean, he looked like Steph Curry. I think he was a perfect 5 for 5 from the 3-point line in the first half. And that's because you're not really going to score against Orlando in the paint. for whatever reason, not for whatever reason. I mean, they got trees down there, so you're not gonna give up a lot of paint. They're not gonna give up a lot of points in the paint. So with that being the weakness of Orlando's defense, being the 3-point shot, Chicago doesn't shoot the 3 well. Chicago also likes to attack the rim. They're second in frequency, but they don't shoot it well. They're 28th in accuracy over the last 2 weeks. So while they are shooting shots at the rim, they're not making them. Orlando can't protect the rim. Orlando can protect the rim and the paint. That's what they like to do. The Bulls, only time scoring 100 points in the 3 head-to-head matchups was actually the game that went to overtime, the most recent one. Orlando, I think they'll be locked in and focused defensively here. And the Bulls, I looked at this. They're 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games after winning as a dog in their previous game. So the same way we talk about the Pacers off a loss, you typically want to back them. The Chicago Bulls have been in that same exact spot. When they win, you typically want to stay far away from them. When they lose, that's typically when they play their best brand of basketball in the next game. And that's what we just saw. They just lost against who did they lose to? The Brooklyn Nets, I think. And of course, they bounced back in a really, really big way. beat the Knicks. So yeah, this Bulls team is so Jekyll and Hyde, man. It's hard for me to want to fade them. It's hard for me to want to back them. I'm not looking to back them in this spot though. It's Orlando -7, -7.5, or Chicago team total under the 101.5. It's the way that I'd be playing this game. Like I said, some real strong trends. Maybe even Orlando team total to go over with the total being so low. Orlando team total right now is 108.5. This does feel like a game they should be able to score 110. But remember, Chicago got a couple guys listed on the injury report that mean a lot, Kobe White and Caruso. So monitor the injury report. Don't feel like this is a game you got to rush to bet. Total not dropping, but so much more. And I think the spread will stay about 7.5 as well. Let's see what you guys are thinking in this one before we move on. Let's see. Tariq says Orlando didn't win. Orlando win, don't cover. He likes the Bulls plus 7.5. Okay. What up, Tasha? Futon Best likes Jalen Suggs over his 10.5 points. This aligns well, Futon, with what my notes say as well. As far as like the Chicago Bulls really struggle to guard the 3-point line. In Orlando, they can get the 3-point shots up, specifically from the corner 3. I don't have the numbers up right in front of me right now, but I'll pull them up real quick. One of the reasons why, remember, I like Jalen Suggs against the Clippers, and it was because that 3-point defense has been so bad. This makes a ton of sense to me here. I just want to look at it real quick. I know Chicago's defense has been extremely volatile to the 3-point line. In Orlando, they can shoot and make. So corner 3, last 2 weeks, Orlando is 8th in frequency and 10th in accuracy. They're shooting 41% from the corner 3. The Bulls allowing the most. They're allowing teams to shoot, the most corner 3s, and they're defending it at the 6th worst rate. 24th in opponent corner 3 accuracy, allowing teams to shoot 42%. So Jalen Suggs over his 3-point prop, or just his points over, because he's the guy that stretches the floor. I mean, you can look into, somebody like, what's my man name? The lefty. I can't think of his name. That comes off the bench. I'm not even sure if his props will be available, but this makes a lot of sense here, Futon Bets. I can't think of my man's name. The old dude that played for the Jazz. Y'all know who I'm talking about. All right, so I'm gonna write this one down here. Suggs over 10.5 points. I like it, Futon. I hope you cash it, my brother. Good morning, Meek. Appreciate you for tapping in. Justin says, just moved on the Heat, plus 108. Not even waiting for the Holly news. I like it. And Fuller, that's exactly who I was talking about. Appreciate you in the comments, my guy. Joe Ingles is another guy that should be able to knock down a bunch of threes. It may be even Paolo. Paolo can shoot that 3-point ball as well. And like I said, the Bulls, that's where they've been giving it up to the 3-point line. Their overall 3-point defense, they're allowing teams to shoot 42%. From the 3-point shot, and Orlando numbers are not too bad from 3. Appreciate you as well for shouting that out, Derwin. All right, let's keep it pushing, man. Success is what you make it. I see you shouting it out as well. Let's keep going, man. Let's get into another game. We're not here for a super long time. We're trying to find the cash. So yeah, Orlando minus the 7.5 in that game, and Chicago team total under 101 is the way that I would play it. What up to my guy side of the chat? What up, bro? He says, morning, my brother. Enough of the game, man. Magic game. So sound like my boy sound like in the Magic as well. All right, intriguing game here. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're laying 9 points here against the Charlotte Hornets. In Charlotte, of course, this total is down to 2-8. It's up to 218, and I think I agree with the movement coming up here. So this was last night. This was at 8 when I looked into this last night. Orlando was at 8. Real quick, hold on 1 second. Let me double check something. I need to make sure I need to check. I just need to check the time real quick. Make sure I got enough time. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. We got like another 30 minutes. All right, so looking at OKC and Charlotte. So you got SGA already out. Jalen Williams has been upgraded to questionable. Of course, he didn't play in that last game. And you also got Gordon Hayward going back to Charlotte. He's listed as questionable in this game. So OKC, 1 day's rest. This is the last game of a 5-game road trip for them, but they really stunk it up. They are 23-17 straight up, 19-21 against the spread on the road. Just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10, though. And they're 0-3 straight up and 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games. So remember, if you watch the handicap in the last OKC game, I told you guys that they hadn't lost 3 games consecutively all season. I think you get maximum effort here. I think Jalen Williams probably returned, which is why you see the spread go up to 9. And they need to win in the worst way. 0-3 straight up, like I said, 0-4 against the spread in their last 4. Now for Charlotte, Nick Richards is listed as questionable. You get the Hornets off 1 day's rest. It's a 6th straight home game for them. This team has been at the crib, it seems like, since Christmas. They're 2-8 straight up, 4-6 against the spread in their last 10. Coming off a 9-point win as a 12-point dog against the Orlando Magic the other day. I think that this is probably a Hornets get right spot. One thing you know about Charlotte is they don't typically perform well when they've won as a dog. And that's been symbolic of all season. I mean, it's really just like what bad teams do. You can't string together, back-to-back wins most of the time. So looking deeper, Charlotte 11-4 to the under, coming off a win as a dog, including 9 straight unders. So Charlotte, when they're coming off a win, 9 straight unders if they won as a dog. 11-4 to the under, including 4 straight games where they scored 84 points to the Warriors, 85 to the Bucks, 97 to the Pistons, and 97 to the Warriors again. So this was a game where, Charlotte team total 105.5. They could potentially struggle to get there. Now, granted, I'll give you guys this. OKC's defense has not been great recently. This team is, real quick, let me pull it up. OKC's defense has not been great. But I mean, you look at the schedule. One thing I looked at was the schedule for OKC, and they've had a brutal schedule. Like this Oklahoma City Thunder team, boy, I don't think you could have a more difficult schedule than they've recently had. They just played the Indiana Pacers, playoff team, the Boston Celtics, playoff team, 76ers, playoff team, New York Knicks, playoff team, Phoenix Suns, playoff team, Houston Rockets, we thought, playoff team, Pelicans, playoff team, Bucks, playoff team. So they have had a brutal schedule. This is just what the doctor ordered. This is what you need after you've been playing all those playoff teams is the Charlotte Hornets in this spot. So I do think it's a major bounce back spot for this Oklahoma City Thunder team here. And what else was it? So outside of that, though, because Oklahoma City's defense has been really, really bad. Like I said, strength of schedule, they've been terrible. It's been terrible for them. Oklahoma City's defense is 26th over the last 2 weeks. They're giving up 119 points per 100 possessions. Bottom 10 in opponent effective field goal percentage. They're bottom 5 and they're giving up the 6th most offensive rebounds. So there's some paths where, you would think that Orlando could potentially be able to cover in this spot. I just don't. I'm not saying I'm not going to see it. I just think OKC comes out, put their foot on the neck of this Orlando team early. I'm sorry, of this Charlotte team early. So, that's the way I would be looking at, because I don't trust OKC's defense. I'll be looking at the team total to go over in this spot. The number was 113.5 last night. Charlotte's still the 28th rated defense over the last 2 weeks. And OKC's been attacking the paint a lot. And Charlotte, very, very vulnerable in the painted area. So it'd be Orlando team total over. OKC's team total over 113.5 in this spot, or nothing for me here. Let's see. Yeah, 113.5 is minus 110 on FanDuel right now. It's the best number. I do feel like it's a game where OKC gets Jalen Williams back, and they should be able to score in this spot. So OKC team total over 113.5 here for me is the way that I would play it. Let's see what you guys are saying on this one. LA says taking the Magic money line paired with South Carolina money line. Okay. Tariq says he likes the Hornets plus the 8.5. The dogs come out on Sunday. Bond says Hornets money line, no SGA and J-Dub. So J-Dub has not been officially ruled out. I want to double check that. But last night when I was looking into this, he was listed as questionable. Just let me double check it. Isaiah Joe also listed as questionable. Hold on here. Oh, my fault. Okay. Hey, appreciate you, Bond. I did not see this. I'm not sure when this even came out. I saw J-Dub is listed as questionable last night. But yeah, it does say he's ankle. He is out to face the Hornets on Sunday. Will miss his 4th consecutive game. So appreciate you for bringing this to my attention. It wasn't anything that I played anyway. But yeah, I definitely don't like it as much now. But it's crazy that the line is still going against him. Yeah, I don't like this one as much at all anymore. I'm put a little wiggly line through that one. OKC team total over 110. I think that they could potentially struggle to score in this spot now without him. But I still, man, it's Charlotte, man. I'm not backing Charlotte off a win. And y'all do what y'all want to. Bond said he liked the money line. Tariq says he also likes the over. IQ says, reminding us that they will still be without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and J-Dub. And Derwin says, you think OKC score 100 in the first 3 quarters? Yeah, no J-Dub. He said, disregard my last question then. I thought J-Dub was questionable. I thought he could potentially return, man. I do think OKC is going to win the game. Like, you got to beat Charlotte. Will you beat them by double digits? I'm not quite sure. And I don't feel comfortable how bad they've been playing here. What up, G Martinez? Appreciate you for tapping in as well. Let's keep pushing. We got a lot more games. Meek says OKC still going to win. Yeah, I still be looking at OKC first half. Probably stay away from the full game, but I would be looking at OKC first. Charlotte don't scare me, man. They don't scare me. They shoot a lot of threes. OKC take away the 3-point ball. They should be able to score against the Charlotte defense in the paint, in my opinion. And they're going to be super locked in off all these losses as well. Let's keep going. Next game up, we got the Pelicans against the Phoenix Suns. I just want to see where I'm at with all these games as far, because I know it's where we at? New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, it's still a ton of more games left. So let's get through these. So first, next game up, we got the the New Orleans Pelicans. They are getting is this number still? It's down to 6 now. Down to 6. Total come down, I think. Did it come down? Yeah, opened at 223.5 is what I wrote down last night. And it's down to 222. And I think, I've been saying this for a week now. Ever since I backed the New Orleans Pelicans, ever since I backed the Phoenix Suns against the Oklahoma City Thunder, when they laid that egg without SGA, they haven't lost a game. They haven't failed to cover spread. Like, I just got the worst luck. I'll let you guys keep riding with the Suns, man. I'm still not touching them because just my luck. Now is the time that they will end up losing against the Pelicans team. So let's jump into the game. So the Pelicans do have Zion listed as questionable. He did practice yesterday. But of course he missed that last game against the San Antonio Spurs. So you get a Pelicans team 1 day's rest, first of at least a 4-game road trip after a 6-game homestand. This team has been terrible lately. Just 4-6 straight up, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. They're 0-4 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 6. The Phoenix Suns, total opposite. 3rd straight home game. They're 7-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 10. They won 3 in a row, all by double digits, and all to playoff teams as well. So it seems super easy here. Also, Phoenix owns this team, at least this season. Well, not just this season, but throughout the last few, matchups. They're 7-3 straight up in the last 10, including 2-0 straight up and against the spread this season, with both of those games being blowouts. And they were actually dogs in those games as well. Now you get them, favored by 6.5. Devin Booker, for whatever reason, I know he talked about it after the last game. He got a lot of family that be coming to the games against the Pelicans in New Orleans. He lights this team up. it's like a bull that sees red. I think he has back-to-back 50-point games against the New Orleans Pelicans. So for whatever reason, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, whoever you throwing out there, they're not stopping Devin Booker against this team. Phoenix is playing really good basketball. Really good basketball. I'm not fading them, but I'm also staying away from this game. I'm not taking I can't take the Pelicans right now, but Phoenix will face plant as soon as I take them, and as soon as I give them out and share that play with you guys is when they wouldn't show up. So I'm off the game. I didn't play it, but it does kind of feel like Phoenix should be able to continue to take care of business. Their offensive numbers and defensive numbers have been so good lately. Like when I was looking at it, I was just like, man, they would sell for me right against the Oklahoma City Thunder and make me, because the game was so uncompetitive for them. They got blew out from the beginning with no SGA that I was just like, you know what? I'm off Phoenix, man. Like they've been so inconsistent. But if you've been backing them since then, you made some money. You definitely made some money. But if you look at this game on paper, it should say Phoenix wins the game easily. But the Pelicans, the money's coming back in. This line opened at 6.5. It went up to 7, and now it's back down to 6. So real quick, last 2 weeks, the Phoenix Suns have been winning by an average of 6 points. They're actually the sixth best defensive team, which is crazy to me. Phoenix, sixth best defensive team, only giving up 107.4 points per 100 possessions, 7th in effective field goal percentage. They're the best offensive. They're limiting teams to the fewest offensive rebound chances. Phoenix got it going right now, man. Everything is working really, really well for their defense. They're one of the best 3-point defenses as well, allowing teams to shoot just 32% from the three, and that's really been, the strength of this team because it's hard to score in the paint anyway. They're 7th in rim accuracy over the last 2 weeks, and that's where the Pelicans like to, take a ton of their shots. They're number 1 in rim frequency, but 27th in rim accuracy over the last 2 weeks. So their offense is really falling off. They're not a team that gets out and pushes either. They don't play with too much pace, even though Phoenix defense has been good there. And then if we flip it, just real quick, I want to look at this because I did look at it last night, but I think my numbers updated this morning. So the Pelicans, now I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns offense. The offense is 13th overall in points scored per possession, scoring about 115. I mean, they really just, like I said, been doing it with their defense. They're winning by about 7 points over the last 2 weeks. And shots, it's the 3-point shot, right? They are shooting the 10th most above the break threes, making the second highest percentage. The second best accuracy at 42%. And the Pelicans, that's the shot that they've been giving up the most. They're 30th in above the break three, opponent above the break three frequency, allowing teams to shoot that shot at 31% of their opponent shots overall. And they're 27th in defending it as far as accuracy, allowing teams to shoot 40% from the 3-point line. So that's been the Achilles heel for this Pelicans defense is their ability. They're not locking up defensively. You see San Antonio go in there and get some wins. San Antonio go in there and win the game outright the other day. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Snag says the book. Tariq says Suns and Booker props. Meek says riding with the Suns here. Hornets are always tough. Sundays are always tough, Hornet says. Tariq says Suns first quarter is a good look. They've been killing in the first quarter, Tariq. Ain't no way I can talk you off that. They've been really coming out and establishing themselves. And we know the Suns, if you've been following the Suns all season, they've been a play-on team in the first quarter, first half. That's when they play their best basketball. Mind you, Pelicans play their best basketball, not as of late with no Brandon Ingram, but they play their best basketball as well. The thing I'll say about this, Tariq, is that the difference between the Suns, like 2 months ago and now, is the Suns actually have been locking up in the second half. Like they've been able to put it together and they're not getting blown out in the, the worst fourth quarter offense, so yeah, this makes a ton of sense here. Main A says book 3 straight 50-point games against them. And Rich S says I'm on the Suns first quarter for sure. Pelicans are going to come out fighting though. They will come out fighting and scrapping. But I couldn't talk anybody off. I think that's a good look as well. Marino Chavez says underdogs always show up on Sundays. Yeah, dogs do come barking on Sundays for sure. Let's get into the Wizards and the Raptors. Not a game that we're going to be on for long. I'll give you guys the notes. Didn't play the game, but do see the total has gone up, which is super conflicting for me because I almost sent out the team total over last night, but I stayed away from it. So I want to make sure I get the injury report for this one real quick. I think I got it right, but I want to double check it real quick. So Washington, they have Rashawn Holmes listed as questionable. Kuzma also listed as questionable. He missed the last game, and Tyus Jones, of course, is going to remain out. First road game after a 6-game homestand for the Wizards. First, they have 1 day's rest as well. And this is the 4th game in 6 nights for the Washington Wizards. For Toronto, Gary Trent Jr. listed as questionable. Bruce Brown listed as questionable as well. Want to make sure I got those right. Yeah, that's it. Everybody else is everybody else. And you do get a Toronto team first game back home after a little short 2-game road trip. They're coming off a 6-point win as a 14-point dog. They did beat the Milwaukee Bucks to end their 14-game losing streak or 15-game losing streak, whatever it was. This is a difficult game because I don't think Toronto wants to win. I don't think the Washington Wizards want to win this game either. I think both teams want to lose. Now, with all that being said, the total, I think, is more of a look towards the play here. The reason I couldn't get there, though, is because, one, I kind of want Kuzma in if I'm playing the over in this game. I kind of want Kuzma in if I'm playing the over. And I just kind of told you guys he's not listed as out. Now, granted, when we think about, and I'll be super quick on this one, but I'll tell you guys why I didn't bet the over immediately. Because, I mean, Toronto, we've been cashing with Toronto's over. And everybody thought that game was going to go over against the Bucks the other day, and the Bucks couldn't score the basketball, which was crazy to me. But Toronto and Washington, it was something about the defensive numbers that I was like, last 2 weeks defensive numbers, I was like, I think it's Washington's defense has been good. So Toronto, 28th in offensive rating over the last 2 weeks, only scoring 105.1 points per 100 possessions. And granted, that should get better with quickly back RJ Barrett. But Washington has actually been keeping games close with their defense. They're actually a top 10 defensive team, only allowing 110.1 points per 100 possessions, 5th in opponent effective field goal percentage as well. So that was the reason why. Also, Washington, their offense is falling off a cliff, 26th in points scored per 100 possessions over the last 2 weeks. So I couldn't get there. This total was a little too high for me. I actually lean towards the under. I know Toronto's defense has been god-awful. They're the worst defensive rated team. But when you're the worst defensive rated team, giving up 128.2 points per 100 possessions over the last 2 weeks, what you need is an offense that's 26. Only scoring 106. So that's going to make your defensive numbers a little bit better. So I stayed off of the total in this one, man. I really wanted to get there with the over when it opened. Money's still coming in on the over. It's up from 220, 226 all the way up to 231. I couldn't get there, though. So I'm off the game. Just wanted to give you guys some insight there. And like I said, I don't think either team wants to win. So I'm definitely not laying 4.5 with Toronto, but I'm not taking it with Washington either. I'm off the game. Let's see. Bond says, Snag says D-Book got smoked with the Pels. That's a fact for sure. Bond says Suns be gearing up to avoid the play-in. That's a fact. I'm glad you mentioned that, Bond, because that's also important to note as well. I talked about this. I've been talking about it the last couple shows, but the Suns are in the 6th seed. With them winning 3 straight games and the Pelicans losing 4 straight games, the Suns have jumped the Pelicans for that 6th seed. And currently, if the playoffs were to start today, the Suns would play against the Oklahoma City in the first round and avoid the play-in. The Pelicans would play the Lakers right now because they slipped so low. And would you look at this? The Lakers, of all teams, winners of 9 of their last 10, have actually slid into the 8th spot. And Sacramento, with them losing against Boston the other day, we're going to talk about that game in a second. Sacramento playing Brooklyn today. They are now in the Sacramento is now in 9th spot. So the Lakers, they could potentially get out the play-in spot. Crazy as it sounds. Let's keep moving though. Appreciate this comment though, Bon, because I wanted to mention that one. Meek says Raptors got this one, so he likes the Raptors. Dante says Chris looks like Andrew Nemhard, or am I nuts? Hey, chill out, Daniel, with that, man. Some people did say that last year on the stream though. And Tariq says he's passing on this game. All fun in the comments. Appreciate you, Daniel, for tapping in, man. Let's go to Portland and Boston. Another game we'll stay on very shortly here. Portland got Jeremy Grant listed as doubtful. Anthony Simons continues to be out, but Ayton has been in, and they've been covering, and they've actually covered 3 straight games. So Portland, terrible spot though. They got 1 day's rest. It's the last game of a 7-game road trip. They probably can't wait to get back to Portland. They have back-to-back wins against the Charlotte Hornets and the Washington Wizards. I'm not sure how much you want to pat yourself on the back for that. They've covered 3 straight games in a row. And looking at Boston, Derek White, not on the injury report. He missed that last game against the Sacramento Kings. Jaylen Brown also missed that game, I think, against the Sacramento Kings. He's listed as questionable, and so is Tatum. I think Tatum probably sits this one out. Boston got a big game coming up against Milwaukee on Tuesday. I'm not sure how much that game means. They're kind of locked into the 1 seed. I don't even know if they're going to play that game hard. But this is the final game of a 3-game homestand for Boston. They've won 4 in a row, but they've only covered 2 of their last 4. They really have nothing to play for in these games, man. So could they come out here and smoke the Portland Trail Blazers by accident? They can. But there's no way I'm laying. This number was actually 17. There's no way I'm laying 17 points. It's 16 now. There's no way I'm laying 17 points with a team that doesn't need to win, especially given the injury report. No way I can take the points either with Portland here, with them being on the last game of a 7-game homestand, because they could absolutely get smoked by Boston's B team, in my opinion. So we'll just go to the next game here. This is nothing for me in this game at all. Aiden has been playing well. The Portland Trail Blazers are much better with Aiden on the floor. They don't have enough in this game, in my opinion, though. I can't get there with the over. I think I would get there with the over before I get there with the under. Could be a Boston Celtics team total over in this spot. I think did I write that down? I don't even think I wrote it down. I looked at the game and I was like, yeah, this is not a game I'm going to be betting. Boston team total it don't matter who they got out there. They should be able to score 116.5. That's the way I would look. It don't matter how much defense they want to play. I think they can hold this. I think they can score 117 against anybody, no matter what lineup they got. And the last thing I'll say, if you're thinking about laying the points here with Boston, maybe even Boston first half, because they have been good in the first half. What I'll say is Boston didn't care about that Sacramento game you guys were watching. They left the bench in, and it was Xavier Tillman who hit the game winner against the Sacramento Kings. Like, they could care less. They were up by like 10 points in that game, and they slowly but surely let that lead dwindle. And when the rubber met the road, it was the bench players out there, Peyton Pritchard of the world, Sam Hauser's of the world, and it was actually my guy Xavier Tillman who had the tip in to win the game the other day. So no way, it's Portland or nothing for me. But like I said, last game of a 7-game road trip, I can't quite get there. This team is bad offensively as well. So Boston team total over 116.5 is the way that I would look in this one. Shinny says, yeah, I finally won my second Lakers bet on that 4.5. Dylan says, I got the Celtics to score 100 in the first 3 quarters, currently at plus 730 on FanDuel. Like the odds there, Dylan. I hope you cash it, my brother. Fox 5 says, if Hauser starts, ladder his threes, I would agree here. Meek says, pass. Wu Rizza says, that's a good look on Hauser. He says, we'll get 20 plus minutes, and he be letting it fly. He absolutely do. Meek says Celtics can't prove nothing no more. Yeah, they have nothing to prove. And Tariq says, I agree with the team total. Boston just like putting up numbers on the board, even with the bench. And I agree. Real quick, one more thing I want to look at. I just want to look at Portland's defense real quick. I don't even need to look at Boston offense. I know they're shooting a ton of threes from above the break as they typically do. I just want to check Portland. I feel like Portland defensive numbers have been a little bit better recently, but it's because they've been playing against teams that can't shoot the ball. The Wizards, Charlotte Hornets, those teams can't shoot. So Portland's defense last 2 weeks is actually middle of the pack. They're 14, giving up 113 points per 100 possessions. What are they against the 3? Portland actually got some good defensive numbers from 3. Corner 3, they're 13th in frequency, opponent frequency 15th, and corner 3 accuracy. Above the break frequency, though, this is where it gets bad. They're allowing teams to shoot the 4th most shots at the above the break 3. They've been defending it. A team's only shooting 31.5%, which is top 3, is the Portland defense. But this Boston Celtics offense, a little different than everything they've been facing. So, yeah, Boston team total over here, nothing for me. Douglas says Lakers got that 45th win for my future bet. Let's go. Glad you cashed it, Douglas. Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers. Tasha says Boston clinched already. They're not trying to win. They don't need it, and I would agree. Let's keep on going to a game that has a little bit more meaning then, or at least hopefully the next one does. This one does. Philadelphia and San Antonio. So you got the 76ers here, laying 6 points on the road. Total in this one, 226. And this total's come down from 230 last night down to 226.5. Let me just double check it real quick. Yeah, 226.5 is the number right now. This is an interesting game, man. So you got Philly. You could potentially wait on the injury report here because even though their starters didn't play big minutes, and I do think that Philly wants to win this game, injury report can be janky. But Maxey didn't need to play big minutes yesterday. I think he only had 7 points in that game against Memphis. And Embiid, of course, didn't play heavy minutes either because the Sixers got their work done early yesterday in Memphis. So that does lend towards Philly in this spot. So Tobias Harris, I think it's interesting to mention him as well. He missed yesterday, and that could be they were playing Memphis as 13-point favorites. So it could be that they rested him because they wanted them to play in the San Antonio game today because San Antonio has been playing a little bit better basketball. So ramifications for this game, and they are big. Philly still needs to win to potentially get out of the play-in tournament. Currently, they're only a game behind the Indiana Pacers for their 6 spots. So you got Indiana, Miami, and 76ers all within one game in the Eastern Conference, and 2 of those teams trying to get out of the play-in. 2 of them not getting out of the play-in, but one of them is going to get out the play-in. For Philly, it makes a lot of sense for them to go all out and continue to try to win, because when you got Joel Embiid, who is limping his way into the playoffs, you don't want to play extra games. So I do feel like Philly should be motivated in this spot. You probably get Tobias Harris back. Like I said, Philly still needs to win. Currently only a game behind the Indiana Pacers. This is the second leg of a road back-to-back with a short travel from Memphis. Not a long ways from Memphis to San Antonio. And it is the 4th game in 6 nights as well. They've actually won 4 in a row, and they've covered six in a row. And they've covered 8 of their last 10. However, this San Antonio team, same thing. This team has actually covered 6 straight and 8 of their last 10 as well. They're 5-5 straight up in their last 10 as well. Just straight up. So Keldon Johnson listed as probable. You got Cedi Osman, Kevin Barlow. I think it's Kevin Barlow. Jeremy Sohan and Devin Vassell already listed as out for this game. Already out for this team. We remember back when these 2 teams played earlier this season. San Antonio did cover the 13.5 back on January the 22nd in Philly. That was the game that Embiid went for 72 points. It was a crazy effort from Joel Embiid, and this was right around the time that he got hurt. I think he got hurt right after that game as well. So this was a game, based off, just how well San Antonio's been playing and looking into the advanced numbers, the Philadelphia 76ers, what have they been doing? They've been shooting a ton of above the break threes. We always talk about Maxey shooting that shot a ton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Lowry. They got a bunch of guys, Kelly Oubre, they just want to shoot the 3. San Antonio's defense has been very, very good against the 3-point shot. San Antonio's defense has also been good at the rim, and that's the primary shot zones that Philadelphia has like to take. Also, San Antonio has been excellent defending the transition bucket, and Philly been getting out and running. We've been talking about that for 2 weeks since they played against the Clippers, and all that kind of led me towards an under. I think both teams shooting a ton of threes, and defending the 3 really, really well. Both of these teams are elite against the 3-point shot. San Antonio has lost a lot of key offensive pieces. I just kind of gave you guys the players that are going to be out, and their defense continues to keep them in the ball game. Philly has held 3 straight opponents to 105 points or less. San Antonio has stayed under the 230 number in back-to-back games versus elite offensive teams. They just came off a game against the Pelicans, and they came off a game against the Denver Nuggets. And like I said, 76 is still fighting for the playoffs implications as well. So I think the effort will be there. I gave out the under at 229 last night. When I sent out the write-out, it was about 2 o'clock this morning. When I sent out the write-up, I said, man, I think we caught DraftKings slipping here. We'll see what happens. But it was at 229 last night, and it was already down to 227 on some books. So I like the under here. I do think San Antonio's I think both of these teams match up really, really well and take away what the opposition likes to do. So I still like the under at 226, but I didn't play it at 226 in full transparency. But I do like this game to go under the total. Stay away from the side. Probably a lean towards the 76ers. A lean towards San Antonio, if I'm being honest with you guys. Feel like they can kind of keep it close. What are you guys seeing in this one before we move on? Dante says Maxey could not get assists. I missed out on 5,000. Yeah, he didn't need to, Dante. They blew out Memphis so bad he didn't play in the 4th quarter, I don't think. Daniel likes Wemby 5 blocks. Paul Mills says, will you go over game analysis under using SDQL? I use it, Paul. Yeah, I use it. Not sure what that question means. I'm some of the stuff that I use. I don't use it all the time, but I do use SDQL. Mayonnaise says Embiid 70 points last time they played each other. Bond says Wemby 10 blocks on Embiid like he did on Jokic. And Wu Reza says Embiid going to stuff Wemby in the basket. He's going to let him know his levels to this. What up, Cash? I appreciate you for tapping in as always, my brother. He says he's on Embiid over his points in the spot. And that is the spot that San Antonio has been, I guess, a little bit more volatile. It's against the rim, which is why I kind of looked at Philly. I didn't play the game, but it makes sense. I just think Philly could squeak out a win in this spot. Like I said, I don't like the spot as much for Philly. But if they get Embiid, if they get Tobias in and Maxey plays again in Embiid, they could potentially cover the short number. Even though San Antonio has been absolutely on fire. Like I said, both teams really hard to fade them right now at 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. So yeah, it's not both teams covered 6 straight games. This is a game where you just kind of stay off of, in my opinion. Let's move on to the next one. So we got the New York Knickerbockers. They will be in Milwaukee, getting 3.5 points here. You got Bogdanovich listed as questionable for the Knicks. And this total was at 220.5. It's still 220.5. You got Bogdanovich listed as questionable for the Knicks. Knicks, of course, coming off a loss against the Bulls. You hear Thibodeau talk about the margin of error being really, really small for this team. But how could you back the Bucks right now? So first off, Giannis is listed as questionable. Patrick Beverley is listed as questionable. Those are the two defensive guys that you need to be able to get stops. The Bucks are 29-10 straight up at home, but just they haven't covered. They haven't been a winning proposition at home against the spread. Just 17-20-1 against the spread. They're just 4-6 straight up in their last 10 straight up and against the spread. And they're 1-5 straight up and 1-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 6 games. And they got Boston coming into town on Tuesday. They do own the Knicks, though. Outside of that game where the Knicks were able to handle their business on Christmas, they beat them in that spot on Christmas. The Bucks have won 9 of the last 10 games. They're 7-2-1 against the spread in the last 10 games as well. So, I know that the Knicks have, struggled. You could say that they've struggled recently, but nobody has struggled more than the Bucks. And the line movement in this one is pretty interesting because, like I said, it opened at 3.5 and it's up to 4.5. So money coming in on, Milwaukee being able to win and cover the spread. I'm only looking towards the Knicks in this spot. I didn't play the Knicks, but that's the only way that I'm looking to play this game. Let's see what you guys are saying here. DMP says, what up, Chris? I'm late, but I'm here. Cashed out yesterday. Bro, all favorites covered last night. Beautiful. I did. I think you're right. All the favorites did cover. Yeah, they did cover. Lakers covered. Sixers covered. Nuggets covered. And what was the other game? Oh, the Nets did not. Well, depending on what line you got, the Nets didn't cover the late number. I think they were 10.5. Justin says Wemby assists 5.5 plus 116 on my card. Tailed your under unit each. Okay, let's cash it. Justin likes the under. Val says, you know what I'm on? Wemby triple double plus 1900. He was 1 assist shy versus the Pelicans. Okay. Marino says Knicks money line. The Bucks are trash. PZ says Bucks major bounce back spot. I'll lay the points here. Okay. U58 says he likes the Bucks minus the 2. Derwin says he got the Knicks money line. We got Mitchell Robinson back and OG. We know we need to win this game, and Giannis is questionable. Mr. Cashout says, can you talk me off the Knicks here? I cannot. I know that the Bucks are due for some regression here, but I don't think it's going to come against this Knicks defense. If you've been struggling against the Wizards and the Raptors, I can't back you in this spot here. And you lost outside. Yeah, I can't. I know that they're going to be focused, locked in. But yeah, I mean, those 3 losses probably the worst of any team over a 3-game stretch that has the winning percentage that the Bucks have. It's crazy what's going on right now. I'm not looking towards the Bucks. I know that it's a bounce back spot, but it be Knicks or nothing for me. Well, Rizza says Knicks spot, in my opinion, due for some to get some back for the Knicks. So yeah, the Knicks also coming off a loss. I wouldn't like the Knicks as much if they were coming off a win. Mr. Cashout says for value, I'll take the Knicks. Tariq says he can't trust the Bucks. Will Rizza says Knicks off that bad loss versus the Bulls as well. Interested Tibbs more than Doc. Oh, I probably trust Tibbs more than Docs, which is crazy with Tibbs being Doc's assistant. Okay. Josh Hart, 10 rebounds, sneaky play for the Lions Den here. What up, Tall Black Genius? Appreciate you for tapping in as well, my brother. I hope all is well with you. Ulysses says, guys, where are the likes? We do got 820 people watching, but people don't hit the like button. They just like checking out the show, which is cool. I don't care. Will Rizzo says, don't forget the Grizzlies also. Yeah, and against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies at least fight hard, though. Justin says, Bucks be bugging. Knicks or nothing. Tariq says he likes the Knicks to cover. All right, let's keep going. Derwin says Knicks on the money line. The other Derwin, we got two Derwins in the chat. Name spelled the same. Says a crazy thing is Knicks is better on the road, and that is a fact. The Knicks ball out for whatever reason on the road. Let's jump into the next game. We still got how many games we got left? Sacramento. We got 3 games left. Yeah, 3 games left. We got 10 minutes. Let's get through these last 3 games real quick. So we got the Kings. I like this spot. I tell you guys straight up, I like this spot. Sacramento, 21-18 on the road, 23-15-1 against the spread on the road. They're coming off that 1 day's rest. 3rd straight road game for them, coming off back-to-back losses against the Knicks and the Boston Celtics. For Brooklyn, you can wait on the injury report because they did play last night. 2nd leg of a home back-to-back for them. 3rd straight home game. They had to fight difficultly in that. They had to fight. Let's just say they had to fight hard in that game last night against Detroit. They let Detroit get out to what I think Detroit was winning by 12 at the end of the first quarter, and they had double digit lead. Detroit did throughout majority of that game. They outscored this Brooklyn Nets team outscored Detroit 38-20 in the 4th quarter, which is a lot of effort, right? So you always I'm always looking to fade teams that had to play extremely hard in that game to win. I think they get smoked in this spot. Sacramento has won the last 3 head-to-head matchups dating back to last season. Earlier this season, it was 131-118 in Sacramento back on December the 11th. Sacramento was laying 4.5 in that spot. Sacramento has been an under team. They're 8-2 to the under in their last 10. But this is Sacramento spot. I think Sacramento shuts Brooklyn down. They're coming off those back-to-back losses. Brooklyn coming off back-to-back wins. Yeah, these are 2 teams that looks like they're going in opposite directions. It flips in this spot, in my opinion. Nets use a ton of energy, like I said last night. I think that'll hurt them here. It's a get-right spot for the Kings. I like the Kings first quarter. I like the Kings first half and full game. I think I'm going to just play the first half in the full game just because first quarters have been so volatile. But the Nets suck in the first quarter for whatever reason. And these splits are based on the Nets being unrested. Well, this season, they are I didn't give you guys those numbers. The Nets are 4-8-1 against the spread when they're unrested this season. And they typically get smoked early in those games. So I like the first quarter, first half in that spot. They're minus 5.1 in the first quarter when they're unrested, minus 8.4 in the first half when they're unrested. And I looked into this trend right here as well. So teams that have a 55% win percentage or better that's coming off 2 straight losses, facing an unrested opponent that has a 40% win percentage that's coming off 2 straight wins, does not bode well for the Nets in this spot. Brooklyn offense won't be able to score in the paint, which is where they've been getting a lot of their points from, or in the mid-range, which is where they've also taking a lot of their shots. The Kings have been playing much more difficult schedule as well. If you go through and look at it, Sacramento should be able to live in transition because the Bucks also give up a ton of points there. So just going back in it, the strength of schedule, something you got to look into in this spot, in my opinion. Sacramento is coming off a game against the Boston Celtics playoff team, New York Knicks playoff team, Los Angeles Clippers playoff team, Utah Jazz not so much, but back-to-back games against the Dallas Mavericks playoff team, 76ers playoff team, Orlando Magic playoff team. Now they get the Brooklyn Nets. Sign me up. I'm on the first. I haven't given this out yet. I haven't placed it yet. But Sacramento first half minus the 4.5, and I'm also going to lay the 7.5 in this spot here. Let's see what you guys are saying before we move on to the next one. Super easy cap for me here. DMP says Knicks money line, Lakers money line, Cavs money line, Heat money line. Don't fade me. Still hot. Ask Chris. He's been giving out the plays every show. They hitting. Just ask Chris. He reads every day. Oh man, I hope you cash these, DMP. Tasha says Bucks will probably show up. Peasy says I absolutely love the Kings tonight. Win by double digits. I agree. So real quick, going back to this comment from Tasha, she says Bucks will probably show up. One thing that made me that this kind of prompted me to was when I was reading about the game. We know both teams have been trending towards the under. The Bucks offense has just been so bad, but in his post-game interview, Coach Glenn Rivers did say he has to find. he has to get his team playing with much more pace. So that lends towards a little bit of more of an over. Bucks do want to play with a little more pace. Just remember that. Marino says King smack city spot here. I agree. Derwin says Nets coming off back-to-back. Almost lost to the Pistons. Give me the Sacramento minus the 3. What's up, Lightbear? Appreciate you for being here. FF Hall 54 says I'm new here. Picks get posted anywhere. So FF Hall, all my official plays are linked in the I use the YouTube membership where you can sign up. You got to make sure you purchase the $5.99 plan, but all my plays when I play them are posted there, but then I still give them out on the show for free every single day as well. But if I make a play after, based on injury news or anything like that, it'll be posted there for all my members. So if you're more inclined to, feel free to just listen. We'll do a recap in just a second. But also remember that if you want them when I make them, you can get them there. Tasha says I always hit the like when I enter the chat. That's mandatory. Appreciate that. Ryan says the over sounds good in this game. Nets struggled with the Pistons last night, even though they pulled off the comeback. I agree with this, Ryan. Sacramento team total was something that I wrote down as well. I didn't get there. Tariq says I agree with the Knicks, with the Kings. Also, Nets team total under. Will Rizza says Kings need this game. Like the spot. I agree. Lightbearer says the first half Kings bet. Sounds like money. I like it. KJ says Kings need this win in order to stay out of the 9th seed. I didn't even mention that, but they absolutely do. Snag, reminding everybody hit the like button. Derwin says Brooklyn ain't trying to win, but it is Sunday. That's a fact. Oscar says shout out to Chris, dog. Appreciate that, Oscar. Let's keep going. I gotta get out of here, man. Like I said, I got a show with Cal in just a couple minutes, so y'all can transition over there if you like. Next game up, we got the Jazz and the Warriors. Yeah, we got the Jazz and the Warriors. So Steph has been ruled out in this game. He's going to get some rest. Remember, I said this the other day. I said if the Golden State Warriors beat the Houston Rockets, they can exhale a little bit, and that's exactly what you see now. So Steph is out. Kuminga and Wiggins are listed as questionable. Jordan Clarkson out on the opposite side. John Collins out. Walker Kessler out. Chris Dunn listed questionable. Utah is punting this game. The Golden State Warriors still could win this game by 11. This line was at 13.5 last night. The total was at 231. This come down to 228. You got a Jazz team that's been putrid on the road, 9-29 straight up, 15-23 against the spread. They've lost 10 straight, only covered 2 of their last 10. And the Warriors, they don't play as well at home, just 15-21-2 against the spread. But I mean, they could do whatever they want to against this Jazz team. This is not a game that I bet. Golden State has owned Utah. They're 8-2 straight up, 8-1-1 against the spread in their last 10. We did make some money on the game before the All-Star break when we took the Golden State Warriors on that second leg of a back-to-back when they had to go to Utah. That was one of the heaviest bets that I made this season. I love the spot from there. And it just kind of bodes with, Golden State owning this team. So it's still Golden State or nothing for me. They could win this game by 20 if they want to. And I like this look here, Tariq. He says Jazz team total under. This makes a ton of sense to me. What is that team total real quick? $107.5 on ESPN Bet. I like this look, Tariq. I think that this could definitely be an under spot here. Oscar reminding people hit the like button. Douglas says Kings to win both halves plus 165. I like it. And yeah, that's it. So last game up, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers. Boy. This Lakers team has looked really, really good recently. This to me, and you guys let me know what you think in the comments. This looked like the Lakers team from last year that got hot right before they ended up in the play-in tournament and beating this Minnesota Timberwolves team. And then they ended up getting the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round, destroying them, and then continuing to keep going. I know that they're on the second leg of a back-to-back. I'm not looking to bet against the Lakers right now, though. Minnesota, they have been good, 25-14 straight up, 21-18 against the spread on the road, coming off the loss to the Phoenix Suns as well, where they got smoked. Don't look at that 10-point game and think that it was close, because it wasn't. Their offense really struggled. They turned the ball over a lot. The Lakers, second leg of a back-to-back, 28-12 straight up, 18-20 against the spread at home, 9-1 straight up, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. I'm just not fading the Lakers right now. You take what you want in this game. It's not a game that I'm gonna play. I'll sit back and watch this one, maybe even make a live bet. Season series is 1-1 with the Lakers winning. Of course, Lakers winning one, and Lakers winning the most recent one. Timberwolves won the first one. And head-to-head, 7-3 to the under in the last 10 matchups. With the Timberwolves struggling to score, it's just difficult because the Lakers been scoring with their offense. This to me, it screams playoff, atmosphere. But the Lakers offense has been so good, man. It's difficult for me to want to fade them in this spot. So I didn't play the game, but I hope you guys cash if you whatever it is you did play. Top looks for me. This is what I bet going back to the beginning. Houston team total under 110.5. I think the best number is 109.5 right now. Cleveland and Sacramento. I gave you guys a super strong trend for that one. Don't think it's going to be much defense play. Over 219.5 in that one. Philly, San Antonio under 229.5. And short list. I put it on the short list because I haven't played it yet, but I am going to play Sacramento first half minus the 4.5, and I'm taking them full game. Best of luck on all your action today, man. It's been a great show. I appreciate all 905 of you guys that are watching right now. And it's probably a couple other plays. Miami, I like a lot. Jalen Suggs. Shout out to Futon Bet over his 10.5 points. And Boston team total, some other looks that I'm looking at as well. Here's some resources that I use to handicap the games. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all a lot. Hit the like button for me if you found the show helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. The link for all my plays is in the description, as I've said already. Bet responsibly. Best of luck. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Also, jumping right over to do a show with my guy Kyle that starts in less than a minute. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. I'm out.